You have power over your mind, not outside events. The words of Marcus Aurelius echo through time, cutting through the noise like a blade. Yet, somewhere along the way, you were taught the opposite. Trained to believe your strength lies out there in things, in people, in outcomes. But the truth is darker, deeper, and far more empowering. They lied to you. The world lied to you. And it's time you remember who you really are. You've been taught to believe you're not enough, that your value is measured by titles, possessions, or the approval of others. From the moment you were born, the world whispered into your ears what you can't do, who you shouldn't be, and why you should stay small. This isn't true. It's programming. Repetition of weakness until you mistake it for identity. Every time you've doubted your strength, every moment you've hesitated, silenced yourself, or stepped back when you knew you should have stood firm, those weren't signs of who you are, but echoes of how you've been shaped. You were not born to be passive. You were not born to shrink. Deep within you, there is something unbreakable. But it's been buried under the noise society's expectations, the scars of failure, the fear of being seen. What if the power you've been searching for was never gone? What if it's been waiting in silence, growing stronger, waiting for you to remember? The Stoics knew this. They didn't beg the world to change. They mastered themselves, not to prove anything to others, but to become what they were always meant to be. When you feel weak, it's not a signal to surrender, it's a call to wake up. Because your true nature isn't soft. It's forged in adversity, built for storms, tempered in silence. You don't need permission to rise, just the courage to reject the lie that told you you're powerless. You are not, and deep down, you've always known. Most people go through life doubting their worth, not because they lack strength, but because they were never taught to recognize it. From an early age, we are conditioned to seek validation from parents, teachers, and society. We're rewarded for compliance, not courage. Over time, this molds our minds to measure success by how others perceive us, not by how deeply we know ourselves. We're told to fit in, not to stand out, to be accepted, not to be powerful. And so we begin to underestimate ourselves, not because we are incapable, but because our potential has been filtered through the lens of external approval. We silence our instincts, question our ambition, and downplay our strengths just to avoid judgment. But here's the truth. Power is not given. It's not something others hand over when they finally recognize your value. It's something you claim when you stop asking for permission. The Stoics knew this well. Power, to them, was the mastery of the self, the ability to remain steady while the world trembles. You weren't born to chase applause. You were born to command your own path with clarity, conviction, and courage. But until you stop looking outward for your worth, you'll keep underestimating the fire that already burns within. This is the wake-up call. Reclaim your mind, and you reclaim your strength. In the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, one truth stands above all. The mind is the seat of our power. Everything begins with perception, reaction, discipline, peace. If your mind is scattered, the world dominates you. But if your mind is ruled by reason, you become immovable. The Stoics knew this well. They believed that we are not disturbed by events themselves, but by the judgments we place on them. Pain, fear, failure. These exist only in the space between event and response. And that space is yours to command. To control your mind is to command the battlefield of life, not by force, but through clarity, by choosing what to accept and what to discard, by recognizing which thoughts serve you and which ones sabotage you. The world outside is chaos, but inside, you must be a fortress, not hardened, but deliberate, not numb, but awake. Self-mastery begins when you stop reacting and start responding. When you pause long enough to observe the emotion rising, then choose reason instead of impulse. This is what separates the Stoic from the restless crowd. It's not about suppressing emotions, but about not letting emotions rule. Marcus Aurelius didn't ask for peace. He built it within, and that's what you must do too. The moment you understand that control begins in the mind is the moment life starts bending in your direction. Not because the world changes, but because your relationship with it does. The Stoics didn't waste their lives in daydreams or empty hope. They understood that thoughts alone don't shape reality. They believed the measure of a person is not in what they intend, but in what they do. In the chaos of life, they stood grounded, not waiting for perfect conditions, but moving with precision even in the storm. To them, discipline was not a punishment, but a path. Purpose was not an abstract idea, but a daily commitment. Marcus Aurelius, amidst war and plague, didn't sit idle hoping for peace. He led, with action guided by reason. Epictetus, once a slave, transformed suffering into strength not by complaining, but by sharpening his mind and mastering his choices. Seneca wrote not to impress, but to awaken the will of those lost in indecision. For the Stoic, motion with meaning was sacred. Every step taken with intention was a revolt against weakness. Action was the sword that cut through fear, confusion, and delay. They knew that waiting for motivation was a trap, so they rose early, worked in silence, endured with patience, and spoke through deeds. This is your reminder. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for signs. What matters is that you begin. Let your actions define your direction. Let discipline forge your future. Let purpose be seen in how you carry yourself when no one's watching. The Stoic doesn't fantasize. The Stoic moves. In a world addicted to speed, noise, and endless scrolling, the ability to slow down and focus is rarely forgotten. Attention is constantly hijacked by the next notification, the next dopamine hit, the next fabricated urgency. Most drift from task to task, moment to moment, never present, never grounded. And in this fog of distraction, identity erodes. Goals blur, time slips. The mind becomes reactive, not intentional. But the Stoics knew something we've neglected. Calm is not weakness, it's command. To stand still while the world races past is not failure, it's power. Because in stillness, you see with clarity. In silence, you hear your inner voice. And in that space between impulse and action lies true control. Calm focus is not about ignoring the chaos. It's about refusing to be ruled by it. It's training your attention like a warrior trains his blade sharpened, disciplined, unshakable. Few people today can sit with their thoughts without panic. Few can resist distraction without anxiety. But that's the challenge. That's the test. When you can be calm in storms and focused on noise, you rise above the crowd. You become rare, valuable, respected. That's what Stoicism offers, not escape from the world, but the ability to thrive in it without being consumed by it. And in a world built to steal your focus, regaining it is rebellion. And that rebellion is power. Most people fear the end. They tremble at the thought of death, of things they can't control. But the Stoics knew the real tragedy isn't when life ends. It's when it never truly begins. Because a man can be alive and yet not living, breathing but asleep, moving but without direction. The days slip through his fingers while his mind is chained by fear, doubt, and distraction. He postpones purpose, thinking tomorrow will give him courage. He waits for permission to act, to speak, to live. But tomorrow I will be a liar. The Stoics lived with urgency, not the rush of panic, but the calm fire of meaning. To them, death wasn't an enemy, it was a reminder. A signal to awaken now, to stop drifting, to stop chasing validation, to stop hiding behind excuses, because every wasted moment is a quiet form of death. When Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live," he wasn't being poetic. He was warning us, telling us that the greatest loss isn't found at the grave, but in the unlived life, in potential buried under laziness, in greatness denied by hesitation. This quote isn't meant to comfort, it's meant to shake you. If you're still breathing, then the battle hasn't ended. But time is not waiting. The clock doesn't care about your excuses. The world owes you nothing. Your life, your real life, starts the moment you stop fearing and start moving. So ask yourself, have you really started living yet? You're not weak, but you've been told that you are by a world that profits from your doubt, by systems that feed on your hesitation. The truth is, the strength you're looking for has never left you. It's ancient. It's buried under noise, distraction, fear, and expectation. From the moment you were born, you were taught to look outside yourself for permission to act, to speak, to lead. But the Stoics knew better. They believed power was internal, unshakable, and independent of anything external. You've simply been disconnected from that truth. Your potential isn't missing, it's just dormant, numbed by comfort, silenced by routine. But underneath all of it is a fire that hasn't gone out. You don't need to become someone else. You need to remember who you've always been. This isn't about motivation, it's about awakening. Real strength doesn't shout, it endures, it focuses, it persists. And that strength has been waiting for you to return. You weren't meant to live in self-doubt. You were meant to lead yourself. You were meant to act, not react, to rise, not shrink. The disconnect between who you are and who you pretend to be is the root of your pain. This section of your journey is not about learning something new. It's about unlearning the lie that you are less than you are, that you are powerless, because the truth is simple. You've always had what it takes. You just stopped believing it. The next time doubt creeps into your mind, when uncertainty whispers that you're not enough or that the path ahead is too difficult, stop, breathe. In that moment, take a step back and ask yourself, what would a Stoic do? A Stoic wouldn't be paralyzed by doubt. They wouldn't let it dictate their actions or limit their potential. They would face it head-on with clarity and courage. Because for a Stoic, doubt isn't an enemy, it's just another challenge to conquer. It's an opportunity to test their strength, to reaffirm their commitment to what truly matters. When you feel the weight of uncertainty, remember that the Stoics understood the power of perception. They knew that how we see the world shapes the world we experience. If you see doubt as a wall, it becomes one. But if you see it as a stepping stone, it becomes part of your growth. Every time you face that doubt and push forward anyway, you strengthen your will and build resilience. Think of Marcus Aurelius, who faced the immense pressure of ruling an empire with constant enemies, crises, and personal losses. Yet he did not let these external forces shake his resolve. Instead, he turned inward, seeking only what was in his control, his actions, his responses, his thoughts. So, the next time doubt enters your mind, pause and choose to respond with the Stoic wisdom passed down through the ages. Rather than retreat, lean into it. Ask, what would a Stoic do? And then take the next step forward. Adversity isn't a curse, it's training. The Stoics understood this fundamental truth. What we call hardship is, in reality, the forge where strength is made. Every trial, every struggle, every moment of pain is not meant to break us. It's meant to shape us. The world will always challenge you, but it's not the challenges that define you. It's how you respond to them. When life tests your limits, that is your opportunity to grow, to transform. The Stoics knew that suffering is inevitable, but so is growth. Pain, they believed, is not to be feared but embraced, because it's through suffering that we find our true power. Imagine the weightlifter who grows stronger with every rep. The muscle isn't built by comfort, it's built through resistance. So too is the mind and spirit forged through adversity. Every setback, every difficulty is a chance to strengthen your inner resolve, to hone your character, and to sharpen your focus. The Stoic mindset teaches us to stop running from struggle. Instead, we face it head-on, knowing it is in the toughest moments that we unlock the greatest potential within ourselves. Those who avoid pain stay weak, but those who embrace it, they emerge stronger, wiser, and more capable of navigating whatever the world throws their way. Pain and struggle are not obstacles, they are the tools of self-mastery. So when life pushes you down, remember, it's not an end, it's the beginning of your transformation. You are being prepared for something greater. In today's fast-paced world, distractions are endless, and our minds are constantly bombarded with external noise. Yet true strength isn't found in isolation or grand moments of triumph. It's cultivated in the smallest of actions, every single day. Your phone, your work, your daily routine, they all offer you opportunities to train your mind and sharpen your focus. Every notification is a choice. Will you let it pull you away, or will you choose discipline, choose control? Your phone isn't just a tool for entertainment. It can be your greatest weapon for growth if you treat it as such. Every time you unlock your screen, ask yourself, what am I focusing on right now? Is this in line with my goals, my values, or am I losing myself in fleeting distractions? And when you step into your work, it's no different. The workplace is a battlefield for your attention. Every task, no matter how small, is an opportunity to practice focus, patience, and excellence. The way you approach your work, whether it's a simple email or a major project, determines the quality of your discipline. It is a mirror of your inner strength. Your life, in its totality, is your dojo. Your mind, body, and spirit are the instruments you train. Each moment you face, whether easy or difficult, is a chance to grow stronger. The Stoics believed that virtue isn't developed in comfort, but in the everyday choices we make. Those moments when we decide to stay grounded, to stay focused, to stay disciplined. So stop waiting for perfect conditions. Your path to mastery starts now, in the midst of the chaos. Embrace it. The world is your training ground. In the dim light of an ancient battlefield, we see the warriors strong, resolute, their faces hardened by struggle. The sounds of clashing swords echo, but there is no fear in their eyes. They move with purpose, each strike deliberate, each step calculated. Every challenge they face, every ounce of sweat shed, is seen not as a burden but as an opportunity to grow stronger. The pain they endure is not weakness, but the refining of their will. The battlefield is not just a place of war, it is the crucible where they forge their strength, molding themselves into legends. Now fast forward to the present day. The warrior's armor has been replaced with gym clothes, but the discipline remains unchanged. A man lifts weights, pushing his limits with every rep, sweat dripping down his face. His body is the battlefield, his muscles the weapons he wields. His focus is unshakable, no distractions, no hesitation. Every movement is intentional, as if he's preparing for a battle that will determine his fate. Across the world, men rise before dawn, preparing for the day with a sense of purpose. Some are training their bodies, others their minds, reading, writing, learning. They understand that growth is not something that happens by accident. It's something earned through relentless effort. The transformation is slow, steady, but undeniable. Like the ancient warriors before them, these men know that the only way forward is through challenge. The obstacles they face will either break them or build them, and they choose to be built. This is the path of the Stoic. To face the struggle with unwavering resolve, to build not just a body or a mind, but a character that cannot be shattered. The journey may be long, but the transformation is inevitable. Life doesn't owe you anything. The struggles, the setbacks, the obstacles are not signs that you are cursed or unlucky. They are the very material with which you shape your destiny. In the Stoic view, life is not something that happens to you. It is something that happens because of you. Every challenge, no matter how overwhelming, is an opportunity to craft a stronger, more resilient self. The Stoics understood that power lies not in avoiding difficulty, but in using it as the forge in which we are molded. When you face hardship, you don't bend under the weight. You don't retreat in fear. Instead, you recognize that these moments, though painful, are your chance to sculpt yourself into the person you've always meant to be. The pain, the frustration, the setbacks don't define you. Your response to them does. It's easy to fall into the trap of victimhood, to believe that life is against you, that you are powerless. But that belief is an illusion. The truth is far more empowering. You are the architect of your own life. You hold the chisel. You control the direction of your journey. Every action, every decision is a brushstroke in the masterpiece of your existence. You may not be able to control the world around you, but you can always control how you respond to it. You can shape your fate, and when you realize this, the excuses fade. They lose their power over you. You are no longer a victim, but a creator of your own future, your own strength, your own success. In life, obstacles are often seen as roadblocks, things that stand in our way and prevent us from reaching our goals. We fear them, avoid them, or even resent them. But the Stoics teach us a radically different perspective. They believed that the obstacle is not something to fear or dodge, but rather it is the path itself. Every challenge, every difficulty, every moment of suffering is an opportunity to grow, to strengthen, and to evolve. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic minds, reminds us that the obstacle is the way. It is not a detour, it is the journey. When faced with adversity, we have two choices: to shrink from it or to rise up and confront it with resolve. The path of least resistance might seem easier, but it offers no true growth. Only by facing what stands in our way can we forge the character necessary to overcome it. Imagine for a moment that every challenge you face is a piece of iron, and you are the blacksmith. The hammering is painful, the pressure immense, but it is only through this process that the raw metal becomes something stronger, more refined. The Stoics believed that this transformation happens in our own lives as well. When we stand firm in the face of hardship, we are being shaped into something greater. So the next time you encounter an obstacle, don't run from it, don't resent it, embrace it, for it is in these moments that you truly build your inner strength. The obstacle is not just a challenge, it is the very thing that will lead you to your highest self. You've just encountered a truth that can transform your life. Don't let it slip away. Rewatch this. Let it sink into your soul. Reflect on the power within you that's been waiting to awaken. It's time to become the person you were always meant to be, a master of your mind, your destiny, and your future. Don't settle for less. This is the moment you start taking control. Go back, listen again, and let the journey begin.